how can an artist from Nigeria that came out 10, 15 years ago, how can they be in a situation like they're in right now, but they have songs that everybody in this room knows? And that comes from ownership, and that comes from nobody or not enough people are powering the business of music. Everybody thinks of the music industry as investing in talent, and it's not investing in talent, it's investing in the business of music.
Afrobeats. We're all jamming to it, you know, all over, I mean, streets of Paris, London, New York. Afrobeats is one of our biggest exports on the continent. It's what we call soft power, right? And we know that there's this challenge we've had. So for instance, I'm the thematic lead for the National Assembly Business Environment Roundtable, and I get to review laws and legislations that affect intellectual property, so things like copyright, patents, trademarks. And some of our laws in Nigeria, for instance, are from English law from the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and a lot of them have not been updated. And yet you have this country that is so creative and so innovative. And so what we've been trying to do in recent times is to try to bridge that gap, right? And during the course of the work, and everybody knows this, you see a lot of artists who were once very big artists. And some of them, they have one health challenge. Let's say they have a stroke or something. And next thing, you know, they start doing fundraisings online. And some people even die because they cannot pay their medical bills. Yet, in countries like the US, you have artists who, even when they die, their estates, like Michael Jackson and the rest of them, are making so much money from royalties. So I want to move on to, you know, an expert that we have here to just tell us a bit about that. How do we strengthen our intellectual property rights? What do we need to say to people to sensitize them about the importance of, you know, these Afrobeats? Everybody's dancing to it, but who owns it? You know, where's the ownership? How can we have, you know, so just tell us a bit about that. Tell us a bit about the work you do as well.
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Definitely honored to share my experience and share my perspective on this particular topic. My name is Saheed Okunnu. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm Nigerian. I am co-founder of a company called Immensum Music. We have a publishing department, a live department, digital management. We do sports. We do pretty much everything surrounding entertainment. We don't do it for fun. The reason why we have so many sectors is because our company is based on intellectual property and creativity. However, our structural direction comes from problem solving and solutions. You know, if you look at one song and one artist, there's different ways that an artist can make money. Obviously, you make money from your streams, you make money from your publishing, your copyright, you make money from your live shows, and et cetera, et cetera. So we've created a department in our company that takes care of every vertical that artists can receive funds from. Now the issue is, and what you mentioned is, how can an artist from Nigeria that came out 10, 15 years ago, how can they be in a situation like they're in right now, but they have songs that everybody in this room knows? And that comes from ownership, and that comes from nobody or not enough people are powering the business of music. Everybody thinks of the music industry as investing in talent, and it's not investing in talent, it's investing in the business of music. If you don't own a car, if you lease the car, you can't put different wheels on it, you can't put different tires on it, sorry. If you lease a house, you can't add a third floor and a fourth floor. There's so many things you can't do when you don't own something. And for us, the most dangerous part is that if you don't own something, you can't control the growth of it. If you look at what happened in hip-hop in the 90s compared to where hip-hop is now, hip-hop wasn't owned by black people. Hip-hop was created by black people. So when you see how it waters down and when you see how it's not taken care of and it's not progressed in the way and manner and shape or form as it was created, it's because the people that were creating it did not own it. And that comes from investing in the business of music. When you're investing in the business of music, you're not only investing in a Burna Boy or in a Wizkid or in a David O. You're investing in a Burna Boy's manager, a Burna Boy's agent, a Burna Boy's tour manager, a Burna Boy's accountant, a Burna Boy's lawyer, a Burna Boy's publicist. You're investing in so many things, and you're also investing in one thing, a word that we all know, which is familiarity. It's very difficult to cross borders and to make money around the world and to show the importance of why we should exist as a culture and as a continent across the world if people aren't familiar. I used to work in education, and I used to talk to students all across the country. And I would go to schools in areas of the country in the United States, and people would look at me and be like, oh, Black Panther. I don't look like the guy that was starring in Black Panther, God rest his soul. But I'm the first black person, black male that they ever really interacted with. And because Black Panther is the first thing that they've ever seen of a black man in these young kids' lives on the main screen, that's the association that they brought with it. That's familiarity. And what Afrobeats and what the music industry in Africa is doing right now is providing familiarity to the world, which is allowing us to cross the borders. Nigeria has the largest diaspora in the world. Houston, Texas has the largest Nigerian population per capita in the world. We are everywhere. Africans are everywhere. We're all African. So investing in the business of music is gonna do nothing but create what we see right now on steroids. There's 1,000 Burna Boys out there. But one thing I also saw when I worked in education, when I was growing up in Houston, yeah, I wanted to make music as a kid, but to me, my access and my reality did not align. But when I went to Los Angeles and I was talking to students in school over there, there'll be a 14-year-old telling me he's an artist, and his manager is a 16-year-old, he's a sophomore, and his agent is an intern at ICM, and he's a senior, all in one campus. So that student's reality and access is aligned. Most people who want to be in entertainment or have an interest in it, their reality and access are completely far away. If you grow up in Surulere in Nigeria, and you have any interest in the music industry, it's like getting struck by lightning to be able to have the opportunity to have any parts, not just as an artist, just in the business of music. The business of music is massive. It's massive, and as a company, Immensum Music, we've employed or contracted hundreds of people over the course of the last 6 years through the festivals that we do in Nigeria, through our actual employees, and we realized that there's been a lot of turnaround. People will come in for 2 or 3 years, we groom them, we help them, we connect them, and then they move on to do great things. And that, I believe, is the most important factor on how we develop and grow sustainability for our intellectual property. We have to make sure that we own what we're doing. We're not licensing it out. We're not renting it out. Rema dropped his first project in 2019. A company that I'm the senior director of product management with called Vydia, they are a distribution company that powers the business of music. Don Jazzy and co did a partnership with this company, brought on by a young woman that's here right now. And 2019 was how many years ago? Rema has a song that just crossed 1 billion streams on Spotify. 1 billion streams on Spotify is about $3 million. That's not to talk about what he's done on Apple, Boomplay, Audiomack, SoundCloud, et cetera, et cetera. There's money. Historically speaking, in this music industry, you didn't know how much somebody was gonna make. It was a shot in the dark. And our issues with investing years ago was the fact that nobody can see the popularity of what things were how things are moving on the continent. You couldn't see it. Especially if you're not there, you couldn't feel it, you couldn't see it. But now that we're in an age where you can actually predict and use data to guide your investments, we are in a golden era, and we have a great opportunity right now to put the money into the business because we can actually see it grow and we can see it become something that can spread wealth across our countries in the entire continent.
Amazing.
So we can get more into it later, but that's...
For sure. For sure. I mean, what stood out to me, 1 billion streams is $3 million.
Between 3 to 5 million, depending
Between
on
$3
the
to $5
platform.
million. Wow. One of the issues we have with people in the tech or creative industry raising capital is that most times they don't have, it's intellectual property, so it's not tangible. So we've had banks reject people to say, you don't have a building, you don't have collateral. And so that is collateral, that's value, in terms of numbers. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, I actually really love what you said, and I was thinking something similar. Like, we're at a very early stage in our market. We're at an early stage with our continent as far as, independence, and technology has definitely given us an opportunity to really close that space between us and the rest of the world. So I think the mentality shift is the most important thing. It's not about, let's go find a case study. This is the case study. You know what I mean? Like, we know that this works because it has worked, and this is what's been going on across the world for the past 1,000 years. So whatever we're looking to do right now is not a replication, it's a creation, and we have to do it, and we have to customize it based on what we need and how we can grow.
Thank you so much.